will not be colorful as my X2 presenters, as they are very optimistic. They have mentioned some deep points, and they mentioned many factors very relevant to the story. I will be في 5 أو 6 دقائق سوف ألخص ما قاموا بذكره. I am not saying that there is no embarrassment that a company like Value company is I will tell the story of Value because I myself attended this 10 years ago, and now I have experienced with the automotive story with an Arab country. Value since 10 years ago compared between Egypt and India. The India is very well known in the IT, and Bangalore is leading this sector. At the end of the day, is a decision is take Egypt as a proximity French-speaking engineers, and they have make their decision. And after the code, very small parts from the code fabricated here in Egypt in automotive industry, especially in self-parking vehicle. A lot of work is done here in Egypt. ربما إذا ما كنتم تعلمون شركة فاليو أن هناك شركة موثقة في الهند فسوف يتم عمل مركز لهم. Let me continue that فاليو تعد أحد الشركات الرائدة في مجال صناعة السيارات في العالم. It's one of the top 50. Let me add that there is a small group in this. And there's
Please have the speaker use one language because we can't switch from English to Arabic. So let him stick to one language. برجاء أن يلتزم المتحدث بلغة واحدة حتى نستطيع الترجمة.
in this part of the village. And also I'd like to take the part of Paul Wimmer that is mentioned by some other presenters, collector شتي التجمعات الصناعية, and I say that التجمعات الصناعية أو المدن الذكية لديها مساحة كبيرة في الصناعة. Maybe Valeo has 350 engineers targeting في غضون العامين المقبلين. هذا مثال جيد متميز. Frankly speaking, so from the charter city that I myself, when let me call it, when we are entering the trap, something like corruption, facade, that it becomes part of a culture in a specific institution. And in order to make some benefits from this, I have to begin from the zero. Perhaps ربما هناك فرصة that I will have a new sheet. I will begin with this. هذا هو الفكر. I'll let me get back to the ideas and innovation. It is a part which is technology related, and some other part is related to laws and regulations, القانون والتشريعات. هناك بعدين. Technology is easier to replicate and develop, but it is more difficult to take democracy as a part in order to rehabilitate it in another country. That it is more difficult to move from one state to another. We need here in Egypt, the speakers have mentioned, which is very colorful. The state has a very important role that to find the environment that enable these different and various sectors to be integrated together, either in the IPR, either in primary education, either in university education, or to link the research institutions with industry, or to find the curricula for university students which will be relevant to what is happening around us. The country, the state has to take all the factors and to formulate one system. And I will conclude with one example, which is mentioned in the book Why Nation Failed, which representing the North Korea and the South Korea, representing the civilization in each country. It is not a matter of people, it is a matter of an institution about of rules and engagement. الأمر لها علاقة بالقواعد والقوانين والتشريعات والمؤسسات. هؤلاء هم الثلاثة عناصر والتي تعد المكونات الأساسية if we wanted to achieve and come out with ideas in order to find the innovation. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. The country has to set the environment will encourage the innovation and fostering it, and law and legislative systematic organizations with strong institutions work in the right manner. The speech has mentioned formulate two things that these all factors are in our hand, and the change it is not a must to be correlated with a whole change movement in the communication and IT. Maybe it will be something on the ground to move us forward, but it has to mention in one time. And from the examples has mentioned in this story is that anyone needs to register his patent, he will the authority of patent is just one small room. No one feel with this room, and also on the second day maybe someone else innovate the same thing. But if he has the ability to formulate a company with this, so it has to be registered out and he as in the foreign countries. And if he likes to get out of this company, it will have a very bad state. But the laws of innovation that makes that to be out of this, it will be very difficult. And if most of the youth tries to experiment this, a very few youth try to do this, or try he establish his company out of Egypt. So the systematic, the institutional, the systematic has to be prospected we all that all things mentioned in the constitution. So now the floor is the questions and answers. And for the questionnaires, before questions, I'd like to ask Madame Dora regarding the knowledge economy. There is application which she is working on, and we have agreed that within 2 minutes or 3 minutes she will talk about this application. Anyone wants so questions, please write down the question on a paper. Thank you, Dr. Abla. I have established a charity organization with the name of the Economy of Knowledge on the light of the revolution of 2011 that the private sector has a very role in development. And I wanted to make you join our initiative. Industry sector is very important, but this sector has seen the light, and also it is the most complicated sector. And I have used basically some mechanisms or models that achieved success in India with skills since 20 or 30 years ago. They have begun with using web and the net to change and to exchange information, exchange knowledge with the villages. What has been done is that we have achieved 2 projects. The first one is that marketing places, marketing hubs, which is including online marketplace, and on the same time it includes the guidance, the agriculture guidance with technical know-how. And now we are working on integrated applications such as the guidance on fertilizations, which has a very important role in its problems. The second part is that we have established a hub, agribusiness entrepreneurship digital platform, aiming at providing a mechanism to enable the entrepreneur either in startups or entrepreneurships to provide the framework, the knowledge framework which can enable them to understand what are the value chains who are working in and where his place, and from these chains he can find the information business model compass, and also he can find the exchange with some other suppliers. However, I'd like to say as the lessons learned regarding the knowledge and the economy of knowledge. The first point is that the economy of knowledge is that when I can approach them with a professional application or business application. It is the main which we have found that in agriculture specifically is that while we were working on putting the mobile and the soap online on the hand of the farmer who has 50 years old, we have a generation gap, a very real generation gap, and now we are working on solving this, and now we are working on how to share this knowledge with the children of this generation. And I am sure, I am trust that the movement and the change will come through the using of the IT technology by these generations through using a new agriculture technology. This will maybe take a lot of time, but through the IT applications and using the challenge or just channels of youth, this can achieve a very great change. The second part is that we will not be sufficed with the universities and the schools. The vocational training is a must, and to join the knowledge economy and the IT sectors and the vocational training. I am talking about the agricultural schools and universities. This is a very important part in order to provide experts as programming and users on the level of youth in order to enable this change, especially in the field of food technology and agricultural technology in a very fast pace. Thank you, Doctor. It is very sure that the aspiration of the mobile phone allow for more and more applications, but also this is an idea and the system of the country which shall be integrated. Mr. Ala Amr, company of using the microphone, please. I cannot. I'd like to thank you because Promar in 2018, Promar has a seminar in 2018. The first point when launching the knowledge of economy knowledge with Mr. Fred Malcolm has published this article which evaluate the distribution of this kind of economy on the level of using the technology since 1962 up to today. No one is speaking about it. The first time I see the definition was published in 1996 by the OECD through a publication defined by the economy of knowledge, which is directly depend on distributing goods and services through using the IT and the information. The framework, the first time I see the framework regarding the measuring of the knowledge of economy in 1996 by the World Bank, and also after a couple of years by the Asian Bank. They have set a mechanism in order to measure the situation of each and every country. In Egypt, we have nothing in this regard. So the collection of knowledge in the 21st century depends on three main pillars. It depends on the first thing, scientific-based industries. as you have mentioned, using the artificial intelligence. And by the way, what has mentioned by Netanyahu, implemented by Egypt in farming in 2010. An Egyptian doctor, his name is Ashraf, implementing it in the tomatoes agriculture, and 92 tons annually through 28 days. We have in this time we are producing 8 tons. Today our production is 20 million tons through 20,000 feedings. You are sufficed with 15 feedings. What is the story of this man? It was expelled, repelled by Egypt. It was taken by Kingdom of Bahrain in 2010. He takes the Bahraini nationality and he is now producing all the farming needed in Bahrain. Have you seen the farming in Japan? In Japan, they are producing planets and an edifice and in the building like the one we are seeing here. And this year, the students of engineering university, they have producing a device fabricating the drones in order to measure the humidity and the needs of waters in the soil. In 2018, they have established a partnership with the university, and they have sold this device in Latin America and Asia. This year, they cannot sell this device in Egypt. Since 2 months ago, an Egyptian student has produced a 3D printer in returns for 1,500 Egyptian pound, and in order to develop it, to sell it abroad, in returns for 15,000 United States dollar. So the industries are based on technology here in Egypt, but we are not scrutinizing on this. Nile University have established a center for the artificial researches this year, Cairo University and Ahram. The students of engineering faculty, they have ranked the first in the United States in producing and in fabrication the drones. Here in Egypt, we stopped using the drones since 10 years ago. I don't want to tell the reason. It is known to all of us. We have stopped the GPS since more than 10 years ago. The system here in Egypt, we need to revise ourselves.
And the second pillar or element is arts, designs, and fashion. That's part of the knowledge of economy or economy knowledge. No one spoke about that. Okay. The third part or the third segment is the modernization of industries using the application of modern technology and acquiring also a modern technology. 30 years ago or 40 years ago, we used to speak about transform technology. Now, we are not talking about transform technology, but updating and acquiring technology, using it in industry, services, and agriculture. So this means that we have the means not to wait until someone would get something out of invention, but there are spheres where we can really do a lot, but no system and no one is doing, there's no collective mind to do, what do we need then based on that? What do we need? Mr. Netanyahu, when he let's not say Mr. please, Dr. Abla is saying that in Japan 2018 are using the drone simulating exactly or replicating the ancient university students, but they also measure not only the water, but measure information, also measure their needs of the soil, whatever, and then bring it to a central location to a robot where Japan is the country that first, of course, invented the robot. They had invented also autopiloting agricultural robots. They work on the autopiloting moon, and therefore what's that important? Because the machine in this respect starts putting the criteria for requirements and then start the agriculture. Japan is just doing this year. Japan has just finished that this the beginning of this year. The estimation of the volume of this industry is $265 million in next years. Consequently, yes, there are ways to do that. Then what do we need? One, two, three, four. I hope that the center would help us with that. We need to have a framework for economy, a knowledge economy, to see where we stand. This has basics, methodology, and the methodology is conducted by the World Bank. We can apply it. This is the first thing that would locate our position or explain where are we positioned. We also need economic sovereignty based on economic development, based on the knowledge of economy. We don't have this in 23 item of the Constitution. There's another word in the SDG of 2030, but we don't have a policy. The word policy is not there. Brazil, since the 1980s, had a minister for artificial intelligence. The United States just raised the flag of study science itself. In 2018, we are saying that we are going to reform education. But if people know that education is the basics of development, it would really be different. So I think we need to do that. If we do this framework and know we are positioned, that's regardless about the competitive road, because this is mainly politics. So, with all respect, but we know how can we know ourselves, we know what we can do. We do have the power to recommend policies. In 2011, I explained the Irish knowledge or the Irish theory in the knowledge of the economy. I might stop here and please cooperate with us directly to put the framework and to work together. Of course, any colleague would be able to do that, please. I have to stop here, but because of the time limits, I'll take all these things. Please, I'm asking you to help us and cooperate with us personally. This is voluntary work, no money for it, so that we only have pizza and things like that. So it will be. I told you about the experience of 2004, where I was really sad that neither the Minister of Research or Higher Education, or they didn't even have a look in what we were discussing. He was just speaking about numbers and splitting about numbers. We do have a problem. We do have a problem.